Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Entertainment with Buford and Francis. Today I'll be cosplaying as Francis from the Fairly Odd Parents, and he will tell y'all the story of Bambi. Enjoy the video. Through the forest at dawn, all the animals are waking up. Suddenly, a bluebird spreads the news about something. Thumper, a young rabbit, wakes up an old owl named Friend Owl, who asks what has happened. Thumper and his sisters tell him that the new prince is born. Friend Owl flies off to the area where the young prince is born, along with many other animals. Upon reaching the area, the animals come across the mother doe and her newborn fawn lying by her side. The animals congratulate her. She then urges her new fawn to wake up and see everybody. He wakes up and takes a good long look at all the animals surrounding him. At first, he's frightened by Friend Owl, who gives a friendly hoot, then manages to make a smile. He then attempts to get up, but due to him being very, very young, he can hardly keep his balance. Thumper comments that he is sort of unstable, to which his mother scolds him. The young prince then falls backward back into his resting spot, causing some laughter and delight among the creatures. The fawn then lies back into his resting area and gives a big yawn. Friend Owl says to the creatures that it may be time for them to leave. They all leave except for Thumper, who asks the fawn's mother what his name will be. She replies that she will name him Bambi. Thumper, liking the name, says goodbye to her and runs off to join his family. Happy with the name, Bambi's mother snuggles up with her sleeping fawn. Then, in a small bush reveals the great prince of the forest, looking down at them from a nearby cliff ledge. A few days later, Bambi and his mother are taking a walk through the forest. Bambi falls behind a little, getting distracted by some greeting animal neighbors. When trying to catch up to his mother, he gets stuck on a tall, thick blade of grass and slips. Upon seeing him fall, Thumper and his family run over to the young prince, asking his mother if he is all right. She replies that he is doing fine. Thumper is then reminded of a lesson his father told him earlier in the morning. Bambi then gets back up onto his feet and can continue walking with Thumper and his sisters, journeying alongside him. They soon come across several birds eating some berries. Thumper then teaches Bambi how to say bird, who does not get it right the first time, but with some encouragement from his sisters, he is able to say it, shouting out on the top of his lungs, bird! Happy with his success, Thumper and his sisters run off to tell Bambi's mother and their mother what the young prince's first word was, while Bambi runs off chasing a butterfly, thinking it to be a bird. Thumper tells him that it is not a bird, but a butterfly. The butterfly flies off, leaving Bambi to think the huge yellow flower in front of him was the butterfly he saw. Thumper tells him that it is a flower. Bambi tries smelling the flower of the small field, but comes face to face with a young skunk. Bambi calls him a flower, which leaves Thumper rolling over his backside with laughter. The skunk, however, says that he's fine with being called a flower, which makes the baby fawn very happy. The day grows late, and it is time for Thumper to return home, leaving Bambi back with his mother. Off in the distance, a thunderstorm is gathering and coming closer. He's then awakened by the noise of some nearby raindrops, which then form a small brook flowing right past his resting area. Soon, the whole forest is alive with raindrops dropping about. The creatures living in the forest run for shelter from the falling water. Suddenly, the violent part of the storm comes when lightning bolts flash about, and a bright flash of light produces many loud noises, leaving Bambi frightened. Soon, the storm departs. The sunrise off in the distance is slowly seen. Bambi, now asleep, next to his mother's side, snuggles up with his mother as the last drops of the storm fall into the nearby overflowing brook. A few weeks later, Bambi is now capable of speaking. His mother is going to take him to the meadow. Bambi, who has never been to the meadow before, is eager to go, but his mother stops and tells him that the meadow is also a dangerous place. She tells him to stay behind the thicket while she looks around to see if the place is safe. After a long moment of silence, broken by a flock of birds flying in towards the grass, the wide field appears to be safe. Bambi then runs out and tries to catch up with his mother, who runs off fast, playing with him. After a while, Bambi walks off and finds Thumper and his family grazing on greens and flowers, to which he briefly joins in. Thumper suggests that Bambi eat the blossoms, but before he can eat one of the blossoms, his mother reminds him that his father's advice about eating the blossoms and leaving the greens, to which the little bunny reluctantly recites that eating greens is a special treat, as it makes long ears and big feet, making up the fact that it is awful stuff to eat. Before Bambi can eat more greens, a frog leaps from the vegetation, croaking, "Watch out!" He follows the frog over to a small pool of water, which the frog jumps in. Bambi, however, is left out on the shore, staring at his never-before-seen reflection. He tries to sample the scent, but fails. Suddenly, another reflection appears to his side. He looks up at the unknown source, which turns out to be another fawn, a female fawn. Feeling frightened of the young fawn's presence, Bambi runs back up to his mother for protection. The second fawn follows suit. The young fawn's name turns out to be Faline. Bambi's mother encourages Bambi to say hello to her. Having no choice, he greets her. Faline suddenly breaks out in giggles and starts acting hyperactive, breaking him into a nearby pond through a wall of grass. Gradually, the two of them start playing a small game of tag. Suddenly, from out of the surrounding forest, a huge herd of bucks appears from nowhere. Faline runs away in fear, while Bambi remains behind, filled with excitement while watching the bucks bound across the field. He even tries running alongside them, but ends up almost getting trampled, taking cover inside a log. Suddenly, they all stop, wondering why. Bambi walks over. The reason appears in front of him. It is none other than the Great Prince. After a brief look at him, the Great Prince walks off, leaving him behind. He then asks his mother why everyone stood still when the mysterious stag walked by. She tells him that he is respected by all, explaining why he is called the Great Prince of the Forest. The Great Prince walks through the forest. Suddenly, the forest silence is broken when a flock of crows flies past, yelling and spreading out an alarm of certain danger. The Great Prince senses the danger and runs back towards the meadow. Once there, he warns the herd, sensing the danger as well. The herd and all the other creatures begin to run towards the forest. Soon, the whole meadow is full of retreating and frightened animals, running for their lives. Faline and Thumper unite with their mothers and escape, but Bambi gets left behind, searching for his mother. His mother is looking for him as well. Suddenly, the meadow is completely empty. Though everything is still, something dangerous and deadly is still approaching. Sensing the danger but still frightened, Bambi is left out in the open, still searching for his mother. Suddenly, the Great Prince appears from behind him and escorts him and his mother to their safety of the forest. Off in the distance, a loud gunshot is heard. A few minutes later, Bambi's mother exits the entrance of their den and looks around. Seeing no danger, she tells Bambi that everything is all right. Bambi asks her what had happened and why everyone ran. After a moment of silence, his mother replies, "Man was in the forest." Autumn arrives. and leaves are seen falling, and as the deer walk alongside a stream, Bambi stops in his tracks and watches the leaves fall onto the water. More leaves fall, down to the final 2 leaves. During the winter, Bambi discovers snow. While Bambi looks around on the snow, he sees Thumper sliding on the ice. He teaches Bambi how to slide on the ice, but it is rather very tough for the fawn. He keeps losing his footing on the ice. After that, they meet Flower, who is trying to hibernate. After a harsh winter spent browsing on tree bark, Bambi and his mother go to the meadow and discover a patch of grass heralding the arrival of spring. As they eat, his mother senses a hunter and orders Bambi to flee. As they run, 2 gunshots are heard. When Bambi arrives at their thicket, he discovers that his mother is no longer with him. He wanders off in the forest, calling for her, but she does not answer. The snow starts to fall beforehand. The great prince appears in front of him and says, "Your mother can't be with you anymore," and leads the heartbroken Bambi away and also says, "Come, my son," revealing himself as Bambi's father as the snowflakes continue to fall. Years later, it is melting season and everyone is in love, although their romance disrupts Friend Owl from his sleep, forcing him to retreat a smaller tree. When he tries to sleep, a teen Bambi is seen rubbing his antlers on the tree, shaking it about. He's soon reunited with Thumper and Flower as a pair of bluebirds fly around them, though they resolve not to be twitterpated, which Friend Owl taught them like any other animals in love. Flower is the first to fall in love with a female skunk named Petunia and leave with her, their tails poking out of their flower beds. Thumper shakes his head with a dismayed expression and stays twitterpated before he and Bambi move off. Thumper is next to be courted by another rabbit, a doe, a little larger than himself, who is named Miss Bunny. Bambi is disgusted until he runs into a now grown-up Faline when he tries to drink from a pond, and they become a couple. As they happily dance and flirt through the woods, a slightly older buck named Rano appears and tries to force Faline to go with him. Bambi and Rano then begin to have a duel, each of them competing for Faline. Though he initially struggles, Bambi's rage gives him the strength to defeat Rano and push him off a cliff into a river below, his victory assured. Bambi leaves the scene with Faline, then they frolic about romantically that night. Weeks later, Bambi is awoken by the smell of smoke and walks to the edge of a cliff to investigate. His father explains that man has returned to the forest and there are many of them now, and they must go deep into the forest. Bambi immediately searches for Faline, who herself is looking for him. Suddenly, gunshots are heard when a terrified pheasant tries to retreat to the air, and the animals run for their lives. Faline evades a bullet and is soon chased by some hunting dogs. She tries to lose the dogs, but one of the dogs ambushes her from her escape route, and she jumps up a rocky outcrop and is trapped, calling out for help. Bambi finds her in time to fight them off, allowing Faline to jump off the outcrop and escape. With her safe and the dogs disposed of, he runs away to safety, but is shot in the leg as he leaps over a ravine and wounded. The great prince finds him there and urges him back to his feet. Together they escape the forest which the hunters have started and go to a small island in a lake where the other animals, including Faline, have taken refuge. Bambi reunites with Faline. Moments later, the fire has died down, and Friend Owl can be seen sleeping on his tree. Only for Thumper and his 4 daughters disturb him by thumping their feet on a log. When Friend Owl asks what is up, Flower reminds him of something important and ushers his only child, named after Bambi, to hurry as everyone races into the thicket for a big surprise. Faline has recently given birth to twin fawns, a boy named Gino and a girl named Guri. Friend Owl compliments that he has never seen a more likely looking pair of fawns, seeing that Bambi would be very proud. Bambi stands watch on a cliff, and the great prince silently turns and moves away from Bambi's place. As he allows him to take his place, the new great prince looks on proudly, watching his newborn twins, just as his father did to him at his own birth.